because what they feel is that when they start experiencing physical symptoms, and if they're sort of presenting in sort of ways that are different to just feeling sort of the tension of anxiety, the heart beating fast, if they're other than that, what happens is people usually mistake them for other symptoms, and then they get caught in a cycle of trying to work them out, and being then that sort of makes health OCD often feel worse because you think this is a real thing, this is different, and so on. So what happens with these, if we look at some of the physical symptoms, I'm going to go through some of them, is when you've been anxious for a very long time, obviously your nerves are all startled in the nervous system's going through the whole body, so you can just have random sensations in parts of the body that you wouldn't have put down and sort of to tally it up to OCD straight away. You would have experienced them, and it's very confusing. And I know this from my own journey. It was extremely confusing because what I found is that some of them were so random when I wasn't anxious at all, but obviously I'd been anxious for a long period of time, that it became so confusing. So, for example, if after I'd gone through periods where I was starting to get better and I wasn't feeling anxious so much, what then happened is I would have, say, for example, very bad neck pain, right? And I would sort of say, oh, that was just from the gym or whatever, but it wasn't. It was the muscles in the neck were latched on and tightened up because the anxiety was firing that up, even though at that point in time I wasn't triggered or felt latched in an anxiety loop. The nervous system was still firing up. So I used to get very bad neck pain that used to hurt a lot when I was working out in the gym, made it difficult to sleep. But I'll go through the body very quickly about some of the physical symptoms that people can experience and why they are usually often mistaken, and people go down all kinds of routes then trying to investigate them in great depth when they don't actually need that. They need leaving and just carrying on with life, but getting more comfortable with them and seeing them come up, rise and fall, the sort of peaks and troughs of the physical anxiety. So if we look at the body, and I'll start from the head, you can get really tight jaw pain. I used to get TMJ, which is a sort of very tight muscles in here, which used to give a sort of clonking sound in the jaw. And then when I used to eat, it used to feel like the jaw was coming out of place on each one, and biting used to feel like it was all off and not on center. So that used to happen. I used to get very bad hay fever, really bad symptoms of hay fever. I used to get a dry eye, very bad dry eyes from anxiety. I used to get very bad rosacea that used to come up from anxiety. All of these things from anxiety. I don't need to say that because going through it, but some of them were obviously genetically predispositioned anyway. So, and I already had some skin conditions like eczema that were then exasperated by anxiety much further. So things like rosacea was made more prominent. Things like a very pale skin that almost felt translucent. Because I could see all the veins very blue in my arms and so on, because the anxiety used to do that in relation to circulation. Then coming down, obviously very bad neck pain. Then I used to have, what other things did I have? I had very bad tightness of muscles in the stomach. Which then went on to form then became the gastroesophageal reflux disease, which I obviously was predispositioned with that anyway, but then lots of very bad reflux, lots of really tight muscles in the stomach, lots of IBS, all of those things which felt like they were happening on their own. Then I used to have just constant sweating, constant hot and cold sensations, aching joints, elbows, hands, fingers, very bad aching joints. When I used to work out, I used to think, God, this is maybe I've got fibromyalgia, maybe I've got chronic fatigue, something like that. Other things that used to happen was, what other things did I have? I had, I'm trying to think on the top of my head, heart palpitations that felt like a machine gun going off. So really, really strong heart palpitations that at times they felt like these heart palpitations, they felt so random. They felt like they were sort of coming and going up and down completely all over the place. So I was very concerned about this. I was thinking at the time, how am I getting all these just like completely distorted heart palpitations with all different sensations randomly, 1 minute fast, 1 minute slow, 1 minute light, 1 minute strong. And that was happening all the time. Then other things that I had, just walking down the street felt very difficult. Blurred vision as well, like I was looking through a kind of mist. Your nervous system, it has cues when you're in your dreams and you're thinking of saying maybe a little feared scenario, remembering from the past, in the something in the subconscious when you're asleep. Not that we need to delve into subconscious. And then you get the activated physical symptoms, bang, that come on in the night. And that's what can happen.